type 1. So in this lesson, we are going to continue the different types of letters that you need if you are a general IELTS candidate. Okay, so if you're doing academic again, you don't need this because you don't get letters for task 1. You get a pictorial illustration. If you are a general IELTS candidate only, you will get a letter for part 1, and this is a continuation, so you need to make sure you go through the before lesson before getting into this lesson, okay? Right, so the 5th type of letters that you could get is letter of apology. So if you want to tell someone that you're sorry, apologetic letter, okay? Letter of apology. Here are some of the phrases that will be useful for you. I regret to inform you, it is with my deepest regret. I sincerely apologize for. I hope that this does not cause you any problem. Seems like an informal one. I'm writing to apologize. I would like to apologize. I do apologize for any inconvenience caused. I would strongly suggest you consider this kind of thing, and you can say, I apologize, okay? So here are some of the phrases that you could use in an apology letter, okay? Right, so here's our practice question 1. Write a letter to a friend. So when you say friend, you know this is going to be an informal letter. Actually, an informal letter. You have borrowed something from your friend and it got damaged. Maybe a book, maybe something that you borrowed, but it's damaged now. Apologize for damaging the product. Explain what happened and say how you're going to fix this issue. Okay, so you need to think about it first before you start writing. What am I going to write about? Is it going to be a book? Is it going to be a camera? Okay, what is the thing that you borrowed and that got damaged? Okay, so you can take 20 minutes and pause and do it on your own and then check it. Or if you feel, no, I need a bit more support before I start doing it on my own, then of course you can join along with me. So I'm going to write to my friend Emily as always. Dear Emily, sorry, it's taken me so long to write to you. But at last, I put to paper to explain why I haven't returned that do-it-yourself DIY book I borrowed from you. To be honest, I've been feeling so guilty that I delayed writing to you. I have to move up that I damaged your book, or let's say damaged the book accidentally. I'm very sorry. I know how important that book is to you, as it was passed down from your late father. What happened is that, so I'm telling what happened, okay? What happened is that while I was reading the chapter about DIY plumbing, I accidentally knocked over my cup of coffee which splashed all over the book. Most of the stains are on the pages that were open at the time. Next para, I'm going to tell my friend what I'm going to do about it. I've sent the book away for the stains to be removed. I didn't realize that it was even possible until I researched it. Anyway, it should be good as new when I get it back next week. And then I'll send it to you. Again, so the last concluding sentence again. I'm so sorry for the delay in telling you. I hope you can forgive me. Love, or with love, oops, with love, Susan. Right, so what have I written here? I've written the 3 paras as to what happened, okay? So you have to apologize for damaging the products. I say, I'm really sorry about it, okay? And then I explain what happened, and then I tell her what I have done, okay? So how I'm going to fix this issue, I've told her that, and then I've kind of reminded her and said, I'm really sorry about it, okay? Right, let's have a look at another practice question. Write a letter to your boss. So this is going to be formal. And you need to apologize for the recent meeting that you missed at work. Apologize for missing the meeting, explain what happened, and say how will you compensate for that. So now that I have done one with you, this one you can try on your own. Off you go, take 20 minutes and try to do it on your own. Alright, so let's have a look at a sample answer. So I'm writing to my boss. So let's say his name is Wilson. Dear Mr. Wilson. So you can take some of the phrases that you want, right? Any of these. I'm writing to apologize. I'd like to take that one, okay? I'm writing to apologize for the meeting I missed on 20th May 2022 about development plans for the company. So para number 1, you apologize. I am sincerely sorry for not being able to attend the meeting. I was aware of the importance of the meeting but unfortunately my absence was unavoidable. Now next para, tell him what actually happened. The reason for not attending this meeting was that I had a car accident on the way to work. Let's say I had a car accident on the way to work that day. Although the accident was not serious, I was taken to hospital for a checkup and was not allowed to leave until I had been given the all clear form, all clear from a doctor. Now tell how you're going to make up for it, okay? I understand how important the meeting was and therefore I have asked one of my colleagues, Mary, let's say Mary Browns, to review the meeting with me after work today. We will go over the development plans and also people's roles and responsibilities. By the end of today, I will be up to speed with all plans. I hope you will forgive me for my absence and be assured of my commitment to this company and its future. Yours sincerely, Tim Wills. Okay, so I have written to my boss and I have apologized to my boss because I missed an important meeting, right? So I apologized to him. I told him why I couldn't attend the meeting and what I would do, and I have a concluding sentence written there. All right? Okay, so next we have letter of request. So you want to request something. Could you please, possibly, okay? Would it be possible to? Is there any way you could? Can you? Is very informal. Will you? Informal again. Please, would you consider? Would you be kind enough to? I would strongly suggest you consider this kind of request, okay? So this could be a suggestion, considering a suggestion again, but it could also be that you're requesting something. Let's have a look at the first one. Practice question 1 under that. A new neighbor has moved in next door and has taken your main rubbish bin. Write a letter to your neighbor requesting that they return the item. So here, request. So your neighbor is kind of like a semi-formal, formal, somewhat in between, okay? So here you have to explain that new bins must be sourced from the local council. Request that the person returns your bin immediately and inform the person of what further actions you will take should they not return your bin. Okay, so you need to tell your new neighbor that he or she has done something which is not supposed to be done, that they've taken your new bin, and in the first para you need to tell them how new bins can be sourced from the local council, request for the person to return the bin immediately, and what further actions you would take. I'd like you to pause the video for 20 minutes and have a look at what you could write on your own. Off you go. Right, so hopefully you've finished writing an answer. Let's try to write one together. So because he or she is a new neighbor, I don't really know the name, so I would write, dear new neighbor. Dear, new neighbor. Might not be the best way, but we need to address them somehow, okay? So firstly, I'd say, welcome to the neighborhood, right? Firstly, welcome to the neighborhood. So now you have to tell the neighbor how to source the bin from the local council. I live at number 10 next door to you, and I'm writing now. I have put a conjunction there, I put a contraction there because it's kind of semi-formal, right? Because it's a neighbor. So I live at number 10 next door to you, and I'm writing to you because I saw you take my bin into your garden on the day you moved in. I'm sure you were convinced that it must have been yours, but I had simply left it outside for collection. If your bin is missing, you should call the council and have them deliver a new one. Next para. However, I need my bin back as I already have a bag in my kitchen waiting to be taken out and so I'm forced to request that you return my bin immediately. Feel free to leave any rubbish it already has, but if you don't return the bin within 48 hours, I'll feel it is necessary to involve the council then. I hope we can resolve this conflict as quickly as possible, as I'm sure we'd make great neighbors. Otherwise, your neighbor Andrew Matthews. Right, so here I have written 3 paras, okay. I've told them how they can get the new bins, and I've told them to return it immediately, and if not, what actions I will take, okay. And then I have a concluding sentence and say, I hope we can resolve this quickly and we'll be good neighbors, right? Your neighbor, Andrew Matthews, okay. Right, so practice question 2. You would like to work in a different city to be close to your family. Write a letter to your employer, so this is formal, to request a transfer to another office. Explain why you would like to move. Request that your employer place you in a specific city. Request it to be completed by a certain date. Okay, so you want to go to a specific city by a certain date and explain why you would want to do this. So I'd like you to take 20 minutes, pause the video and have a look at it on your own. Right, so hopefully you've written an answer. Let's have a look at a sample, right? So you can say dear sir or madam, or you can say dear if you know the name, right? I would just say dear sir or madam. My name is Peter wins. And I have been a loyal employee for ABC Incorporation for over 15 years. Currently, I'm working in Colombo as a manager. Next para. It has recently come to my attention that my wife's father now requires full-time care and I would like to request that I be transferred I'd be transferred to a different office so that we may be more involved. Next one. I am aware that the company operates an office and factory in Homagama and working here, let's say, and working there would mean being close enough to my father-in-law. If my exact role is not available at the homogamy site, I am willing to interview for other relevant jobs and consider them on a case-by-case basis. Last para. Unfortunately, so the time frame, right? Unfortunately, this is a time sensitive issue and would like to further request that I receive confirmation of the transfer within the next 30 days, or I may have to consider leaving the company yours faithfully, Susan Fletcher. Right, so, oops, not Susan Fletcher, what was my name? Peter Vince. Sorry. Yours faithfully, Peter Vince. So I'd like you to pause the video time to time and have a look at the paragraphs, right? So here we have an introduction. Basically, I told him about my name, right? And then explain why I want to move, right? And then I requested him to a specific place, which was in Homagama, and then I gave him a specific time frame, which was 30 days, okay? So I think now you're getting the hang of writing the answer structures. Let's have a look at the 7th type of letter. Now here you have letters where you write a letter to a friend, maybe family or close relative. So they are informal letters. Okay. So hello, hi there. I'm sorry. I hope you're well. Lots of love. Thanks very much. It's been ages since I've heard from you, right? I should let you know I was wondering of you, could you help me, things like that. Very, very informal phrases, okay? So, let's have a look at practice question. Your sibling, which means your sister or your brother, okay, has sent you a letter asking for an update on your life. So, just asking you how you're doing and what you've been doing these days. Write a letter to your sibling. Describe what you did for your last birthday. Ask photos for your sibling's last holiday. And then talk about something you are looking forward to. So you've got 3 things to talk about. I'd like you to take 20 minutes and pause the video and have a look at it on your own. Right, so I hope you would have finished writing an answer. If not, let's have a look at a sample answer together, okay? So I'm going to write to my sisters and say, dear sis, so you can use the name, okay? Either one is fine. Right, thanks for your last letter. It gave me a giggle. That means it made me smile on a boring Wednesday. As for me, I was out for my birthday last week. Seven of us went to see a play at the Royal Theatre. And we stayed out late at a cocktail bar. The play was good. The drinks were many. And I had to take the next day off work with the world's biggest hangover. I swear they get worse every year. Next para. So you want some pictures of her holiday, right? So I'll be going to Spain for a couple of weeks next month. That reminds me. Send me those photos from your last holiday that one to Croatia. When you went to all those music festivals that sounded the best time when you told me about it. Then what I look forward to doing, right? I'm looking forward to going to a festival or two. My friends and I want to travel to Holland. If you want to go with me, give me a shout ASAP. Love, James. Right, so here you can see how I've structured the letter. Okay, so just a little intro. Okay. Oh, thank you for your last letter. Right, okay. So then I talk about what I did for my last birthday and ask photos about her trip to Croatia. Okay. And also talk about something that I'm looking forward to. So I want to go and visit 2 or 3 festivals, right? And that's what I want to do basically. All right, next question. Your best friend is moving back to your city after being overseas for 5 years. So when you say friend, obviously you know this type of letter is informal. So moving back after 5 years. Write a letter to convince your friend to move in with you. Explain how much you have missed your friend. Describe how you feel about your friend's return and give reasons that you and your friend should share a home, right? So I'd like you to take 20 minutes, pause the video and Do it on your own. Then let's have a look at a sample together. Right, so let's have a look at a sample together. So you know my friend's name by now, so I'm going to write to Emily, right? Oh, you could even, let's pick a new name. Dear Amy, right? Now this is informal, right? So you can write it using informal language. I just heard that you're coming back to Manchester in the spring. Is this really true? Means I'm so excited. That's why I have a question mark and an exclamation mark. I'm excited. I've missed you. So much. Okay? Just to say I missed her very, very, very much. You wouldn't... Oh, my L is missing. You wouldn't believe. Although I've also heard that you are planning to get your own place in Stratford and this makes me less excited. I have been living on my own for 6 months now and I can't wait to get back into a shared house. Living alone is just not for me and I always thought that the days we lived together were the best. That's why, next para, I'd like to propose that we start looking for a house or flat for the two of us. It would be cheaper than us both living apart, and we both have great jobs, so we can afford a really nice place. Now, that's it. Can't wait to hear from you. Love, Susie. Okay? So here I have written to my friend. I've explained how much I've missed her and how I feel about my friend's return, and I've given her reasons that we should share a home together throughout it. Okay? So off you go. You could also compare this answer against what you have written. Right, so I think with that we're coming to the end of the lesson. So let's have a quick recap. So I'm going to show you a letter, right? You need to tell me what type of letter is this. Right, so let's have a look at a recap of the lessons. We've nearly come to the end, right? So a recap question. Now I'm going to show you a letter and you need to tell me what type of letter is this, okay? And why was it written? Identify the structure of the letter and how the information has been placed in each body para, and tell me why didn't this letter get a band score of 9. So try to spot the errors. Now I'm going to show you, here's the letter. Read it on your own, okay, and try to come back and answer these questions. Okay, so it tells you, I'm writing to you regarding the recent article you published about Sir David Mackham last week. The article gives a brief biography about Sir David's life and then continues to focus on his work. Okay, so I see a little spelling error here, brief, so we could just underline that. Oops, let me just select a color. Right. The biography starts with his birth in Edinburgh and his later move in 1962 to Durham University. From there, it focuses on his work with the UN. I would like to point out an error in your article. Documentation shows that Sir David did not go directly from Edinburgh to the University of Durham. He in fact took a gap year in Europe working with a volunteer program and then went to the university. I know this as I worked with him in Europe and become friends. So a little error there again. With him, his year abroad, which is absent from your article, created the foundation of his philosophy of life, which guided him through his work in the later years. I hope you will publish this correction in the newspaper. Sir David's work is still of immense importance and people should know the importance of that gap year in his life. Looking forward to a positive reply. Yours sincerely. I think that should be yours faithfully. So what type of letter is this? Okay, this is an amendment type of letter. Now, why was it written? It was written to correct a certain error that was published in a specific newspaper. Okay. Now, identify the structure. Now, here, he gives a little intro, okay, and then he tells what? I'm writing this regarding a recent article, okay. So he says, okay, this was the point that you had published in your newspaper, right? And it shows that, you know, he went straight to university, but he really didn't go to university straightly. He had a gap in between where he spent his time working as a volunteer, right? So in the last para, he tells him that he would like the editor or whoever is publishing the newspaper to correct this error, and then he says thank you for it. Okay, so it goes as a little intro. It goes body para 1, body para 2, body para 3, and a closing sentence, and finally it says yours sincerely, but it should be yours faithfully. So why didn't this letter get a band 9? Because of those slight errors. There is a spelling error. There is become friends should be became friends, and here you have to make it yours faithfully. So with that, we come to the end of the lesson, right? And this was focusing on the different types of other letters. So we had a look at a letter of apology, okay? And we did 2 practice questions, and then we had a letter of request. Again, we had a look at 2 practice questions, and finally, we had a look at letters to a friend, maybe a family friend, maybe a relative, informal letters. And then we had a quick recap of just 1 letter, okay? So with that, we come to the end of the lesson, which was the remaining types of letters, and that was part 2, and that brings us to the end of the different types of letters that you would need to write as a general IELTS candidate.